Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Welcome to this first broadcast looking at actions to consider around this unprecedented situation we find ourselves in around the coronavirus. This is Rob Pickering from ActionCOACH Reading Wokingham, giving you some things to think about and work on in your business. So, interesting times. How many times have you heard that recently? What we're going to talk you through today is 11 points that you should be thinking about in your business and maybe in your life generally. So let's get started. So step one, it's really important to communicate more than you ever did before. And who to communicate with? You need to communicate with your own team. You know, your team are looking for leadership. They're looking for you to be telling them what's happening. In uncertain times, communication is absolutely key. So if you were communicating before with your team on, say, a weekly basis, a weekly company meeting, really you need to be communicating on a daily basis. You can do that via video, even if you just use a phone. It's pretty easy. There's a lot of tools out there now to be communicating, and I think it's important that your staff see your face. So use the video and communicate daily, just giving updates and make sure you're finding good news. Communicate with your customers. They need to know what's happening as well. They need to know how you're helping them and that you care, because you do need to. They are your customers. Communicate to your network. Let everyone in your network know what's going on. That might be your local networking group. It might be a LinkedIn networking group, Facebook, any clubs, societies, anything like that you're in. Keep communicating and keep it upbeat. Communicate with your suppliers and stakeholders. Your suppliers, well, if you think about your customers, they consider you their suppliers. So however you feel about your suppliers, that's probably how they feel about you. And you're looking to your customers and wondering, and your suppliers are looking to you and wondering. They're probably wondering, are you going to buy anything from them? And they're probably also wondering, are you going to be able to pay them? So make sure that you're setting any fears at rest. Make sure you're communicating. Do tell them how they can help you, because they may well be very willing to, more so than ever before. And think about your community. There's a lot of really good community groups where we're based in Goring-on-Thames. It's been fantastic to see. There's a group that's formed on Facebook and being led by a very qualified, willing individual who's stepped up and is organising a lot of volunteers in the area, huge number of volunteers offering to go out into the community and help with deliveries of food, medicines, anything else that anyone needs. Basically, here's a long list of hundreds of people. If you need anything, give them a call. What a fantastic atmosphere we're getting at the moment in the community and across businesses as well. Let's keep that going. It's really important, step two here, being positive. You know, I'm not a huge believer in you know, just put a positive spin on things. No, we actually need to make things positive, not just pretend that we're putting on a brave face. Being positive is really about looking for the positive and finding ways to be positive. See, there's two choices in life generally and in business. In every point in life, we come to this place where we make a decision where either we're going to whinge and moan about how things are. We get into blame, excuse, and denial. The government should do this, businesses should do this, you know, and so on. Or we can take ownership, responsibility, accountability, and we can drive things to be the way they need to be. A great quote from Gandhi that I follow and have it on my wall is to be the change you wish to see in the world. If we all take responsibility for ourselves and our own attitude and also helping others, then the world will be a great place. Let's keep that in mind. So panic and worry really doesn't help. Our brains are designed such that when we're in panic, when we're worrying, we literally cannot think clearly. The blood goes to our muscles so that we can run the hell away. And that's not what we're doing right now. Right now, we're dealing with what's in front of us, and we need to look at it in a calm, collected way. So keep the panic down. Now, one of the great ways to keep the panic down is to be highlighting the small wins, because there are wins, there are small wins, there are big wins. But in a climate like this, it's very easy for people to get into the mode of seeing bad news and spreading it a lot more than they spread the good news. So make it your job to look for those small wins and to spread them around. We'll say a little bit more about that later on. And then the next point, yeah, it always makes me laugh seeing this point. How can I sell more toilet paper? You know, we're not really asking you how you can sell more toilet paper, although I'm sure a lot of people have got a lot of toilet paper they could sell. It's really about what represents that opportunity for you in your business. What is that is in huge demand right now that you can focus on and sell to that demand? Have a think about that. There will be something. Sometimes less news is better when the news that you're watching is a source of bad news. You can tell the different sort of news agencies and what their attitudes are. And if their attitude is to just stir things up and focus on negative, bad news, avoid it. Go looking for the good news sources, the positive sources, and also be one of those sources yourself. You got to lead your people. And leading your people, I'm going to do a separate webinar on this because it's so important. Maybe I'll make it the first one after this next week. It's so important to be the leader to the people in your company, of course, but also in other areas in your community. And I was at a meeting the other day, one of the last meetings probably for a while, and I was saying this about leadership, and one of the guys listened to me, and then he said, I've been listening, Rob, and I'm a one-man band. I'm not really sure how this leadership affects me. And I was sitting here thinking, this isn't relevant to me. He says, then suddenly I realized I got to be the leader in my own family. So Martin, if you're listening, thanks for that, because it's a really good reminder to us all that even if we're not a leader in the business, or even if we don't see ourselves as a leader in the community, we can take on that role as leader in our own families and around our families at this time when people are worrying. Take on that leadership role. It is a choice. Knowing the cycles, this is a pretty quick one. We talk a lot about this in Action Coach generally, that you can use this metaphor of our seasons as looking at the way that business runs, that pretty much every 7 to 10 years we see a downturn, we see a recession, and there's a pattern that it follows. And in the summer, that's when we're harvesting stuff, everything is good, we're selling well. What we need to be doing is not just living it up on that, we need to be planning for as things slow down. So in the summer, you need to produce and you need to plan for the fall, and then get into the winter and keep things moving, whilst in the winter you're planning for spring and you're planning for summer and getting things ready again. So right now we're in the autumn and probably getting into the winter of this whole situation, and we need to focus on getting through that winter and also on preparing ourselves for when the spring comes, because when this is over, things are going to be great. Things are going to be actually better in many ways than they are now. People will have learned how there are advantages in not always traveling everywhere. We're going to save so much time and money and pollution by continuing to work in this way with webinars, in having less physical meetings where people are traveling all over. Because once you've tried this online technology and you can look people in the eye and have a large group of people who can be anywhere in the world, it's going to create so much more freedom. So be planning now, or what you're learning now is going to set the scene for how you can run the business in future. So look on those positives and develop them. Think about leverage. Like you put in some hours to learn now, and it's going to pay you back dividends of giving you days of extra time back in future. So change, the only constant is change. You'll have heard of that quote before from Heraclitus. So getting ahead and leading the change, and using this formula we use in Action Coach might look a little complicated. It really isn't. It's all about D for dissatisfaction multiplied by V for vision, plus F is first steps, R is resistance. Now, what does that all mean? The dissatisfaction, look, if you're feeling dissatisfaction right now, and I hope in some ways you are, because it takes that dissatisfaction to create some movement. This is known as the formula for change, and it's all about what holds people back. What is that resistance, but what drives them further? And everything on the left there of the greater than sign needs to be greater than the resistance. So to get us past this resistance, and this is you, this is me, this is our customers, our suppliers, it's the whole world. What's going to create that change is to recognize a dissatisfaction in how things are or could be, but to see the vision of how they could be, and then focus on what are those first steps. Let's create that step-by-step plan that's going to get past the resistance that's there naturally. And look at your products, your services, look at pricing, delivery, and staffing, and whatever were the rules last week, they don't apply. The new world is today, is next week, is next month, is next year. What are the products that you are going to be selling in future? Sure, there may be some products and some services that you can look at and just be saying, wow, like we got no business left. Okay, sure, things have changed. There's no point looking at what you can't sell unless you're looking at how you're going to sell it in a different way. If you can't sell what you've got, find something that you can sell. If you don't even have any services that you offer, maybe you only sell products. Think, what service can we offer instead? Now, if you don't find that easy, ask for help. I know it's I know it's not very popular, but there's a lot of help out there, including from me. Give me a call. I can help you work through this. I'm not even going to charge you for it. We're going to be offering some 15 to 30-minute quick sessions with local businesses. If you want a hand to think through how you change things, just drop me a line. You'll see my email address from the invites you've received. It's robpickering@actioncoach.com. Drop me a line, find me online, and I will help local businesses, and my colleagues all over the country, all over the world will help as well. So look at all of those things and work out what is your new business model. If you have to, you may, whether it's temporarily or permanently, you may need to change your whole business. I was talking to someone yesterday in travel, and I must admit, I'm kind of stumped at what someone who's in travel is going to do in order to sell anything around travel. So he was saying he can sell holidays for next year, sure, but that's pretty difficult to get the cash in now. And sometimes you need to look at the whole business, and maybe you got to say, we're going to just put the current business on hold. We're going to work to develop business for the future, but right now we're going to be doing something completely different. It was interesting to see a news story. I think it was on the BBC. I saw it reported in one of the papers and online this morning as well about a gin distillery that is just about to start producing antiseptic hand gel, or antibacterial, sorry, which is a fantastic move. You know, some of the skills and the equipment and everything they've got there for producing alcohol, with the right license, they're going to be producing alcohol that has all the additives, so it can't be drunk, but is damn good at cleaning hands and keeping stuff clean. You know, think outside that box in terms of what can you do if what you're currently doing is not working. But if what you're currently doing still has an opportunity to look at how you can make it work. And, you know, sometimes you just got to break the whole model that's there. You know, if, for example, you've got a high-end restaurant that is entirely focused on serving people in its restaurant, you know, if you're not going to have people in the restaurant, then just break that completely, at least for now. Think about how you can get deliveries to people. You're going to have a lot of people sitting indoors, bored and sick of the same old food. How about you turn into a delivery service and you can offer that? Find ways. There's always a way. If you go looking for it, instead of saying we can't do this, ask the question, what can we do? What are some options? What are the pros and cons of those options? Now, which one are we going to do? Again, if you need to talk that through with someone, talk to a trusted advisor, you know, talk to a business coach. If you're not already dealing with one, give one a call. Honestly, after speaking to a business coach, I guarantee you won't know any less afterwards. Give us a call, let us help. That's what we're here for. Now, cutting back, you know, I really struggle with this one because the danger is that by talking about cutting back in the wrong way, we can actually make the recession worse. We can stop spending beyond where it should be. So cash is king is more true now than ever. It's always true in a recession. It's true generally, but it's especially true in a recession. If you've got cash, you've got massive power at the moment. You can go and strike great deals and use that cash, but use it wisely. Don't blow it all. and plan all the way through. Now is the time that you need to get a cash flow forecast. If you need a hand with that, ask me, ask your accountant, ask a bookkeeper, anyone that really truly knows, because you need to know and plan. How long is this going to take? Is it going to be a month, 3 months, 6 months? Dread the thought, 9 months or even longer. Look at your cash flow and see what your demands are, and then you'll know what cash you've got spare and use it wisely. If, on the other hand, you're short of cash, there's a lot of government initiatives. We'll be talking more about those next week as the government actually rolls out the details of how we use them. But right now, there are things you can do, because some companies have got a lot of cash and a lot of companies have got no cash. Let's put the two together. If you can offer a service, you may be able to offer an incentive for cash discount, for paying up front, or paying stage payments. Make it easy for your customers as well with stage payments, if you've got the cash to do that. So, you know, certainly stop spending on the non-essentials. It may be okay to spend on a few, you know, the restaurant meals and stuff like that. We don't want to put all these guys out of business. So, but the key is to know what your budget is and spend within your budget and conserve the cash, but only to the degree that you need to. To stop spending altogether is dangerous. But equally, don't go spending money that you're going to wish that you hadn't before. So the key to this is a plan. You know, it's really hard to say. If someone says, well, should I cut back on this or should I cut back on that? The only answer you're going to find is in your cash flow forecast. If your cash flow forecast says you can afford it, you can afford it. If your cash flow forecast says you can't afford it, stop spending on it. And if you don't have a cash flow forecast, that's crazy. You need to get a cash flow forecast and you need to make it a priority. Do it today. Wherever you can reduce your outlays, look for options on that. Negotiate with your suppliers. Be in communication with your suppliers all the time anyway. And if you can at all, renegotiate things now. It's easier to renegotiate now than later. We've already renegotiated the events that we've got coming up over the next year. You know, we've managed to, you know, with the kindness of the venues we work with, that we're going to stay loyal to in return for their loyalty. You know, Medeski Conference Centre has been great to us, and they've allowed us to move events. They could have forced us to pay a cancellation fee, but they've allowed us to move the events to future. Suppliers like that, I got to give them a shout out. Thank you. It's really good when suppliers are helping customers. It's allowed us to move the events, and we're going to therefore book more events with them and stay loyal to them in future. So when your suppliers are helping you out, be loyal to them. When you go help your customers out, let's hope they'll be loyal to you. You can't guarantee it, but why not be nice to them anyway? If possible, if necessary, slow things down or postpone. That's really what I was talking about there. And then, you know, the most important point I'm going to tell you today out of all of the others, keep marketing and selling. It's really, really important. So many times, I've probably lived through 4 recessions now, I'll show you my age. And in each recession, the businesses that really suffer most are the ones that cleverly think, right, we'll conserve cash by cutting back on our marketing expense. You know, if you think marketing is an expense, your marketing must be really bad. Marketing, when it's done properly, is an investment. So think about it. If at the moment your marketing is good marketing, and every pound you put into your marketing, you get more than a pound of business back, why would you cut that now? You know, at the moment, you need to put more pounds in that. You actually need to invest more in marketing and selling right now. If you don't have a good marketing plan, and if you don't know which of your activities are generating an ROI, you need to work that out. We have tools for doing that. Reach out and ask us for the help. Please keep marketing and selling. I'm even going to come back and repeat this in a while. Look at credit. Extend your own credit. There's a great quote I often use with my clients when I first start working with them, that, you know, Bob Hope said that a bank is a place that will lend you money if you can prove that you don't need it. And it's very true, but it's not knocking the banks. It's sensible. It's about them reducing risk. You know, the customers who leave it too long and get in a bad situation so that they're about to go under and then go to a bank and ask for cash, well, would you blame the bank for not lending to them when they've let it get in that state? It's important that you plan early. Again, it comes back to cash flow, it comes to your business strategy and selling things you can sell, but make sure that you are getting the cash. So get it now while you can. While people are still lending, go get that money, get facilities. So I'm not saying you necessarily need to take a loan, but if there's one action that I'd recommend, it's go to your bank. If you don't have an overdraft, request an overdraft. If you have an overdraft, request an increase. Now, I'm not telling you to use the overdraft, I'm telling you to get the facility. It will help you sleep better at night if money gets tight. It's absolutely key to do that now. Also extend any other credit lines that you've got with suppliers if you possibly can. You know, they'll have everyone at the moment calling them on credit lines, but those who get in first are going to win. Even getting credit cards, if you don't have a business credit card, you know, I don't have a business credit card, I'm going to get one. I don't need it. That's why I'm going to get it. If I wait till I need it, they probably won't give me one. They're probably too late. You know, my cash flow looks great, but it's because I've got a cash flow forecast and I'm thinking these things through. Work on your cash flow and make that look good too, and then have contingency plans, because we don't know how long this is going to take. Don't know how it's going to be. So in times of uncertainty, you know, plan for the worst and expect the best, and make the best happen. Look at your personal credit as well. Extend personal lines of credit. In the UK, the banks are apparently going to be offering mortgage holders. Now, mortgage holders aren't always necessarily a great thing to do, because as I understand it, all that's happening is you're just leaving that debt and paying interest on the whole debt. So the total amount that you may pay is probably going to be higher. But right now, if you can do that, it can be a good thing. So definitely consider going for that mortgage holiday if you're tight on cash, or if you're an employee and worrying about your job. You know, get those things at least in place. You don't have to see it through, but at least start the inquiry and look at your credit card lines as well. Now, if it really comes to it, you might even need to refinance, and again, sooner rather than later. You might have taken out a business loan for growth, or extending your product lines or something like that. You may have taken it out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and it's well on the way to being paid off. Maybe now, actually, rather than continuing to pay it off, which is a very sensible thing to do, you may need to go the opposite direction for contingency and actually ask to extend that loan. So think about that and take the right decision. And absolutely investigate this, find the right rates, the lowest rates, and the rates that are right for you. If temporary, short-term cash flow is a problem, then it's more likely to be an overdraft you need. If it's going to be a long-term thing, then a loan is probably what you need rather than an overdraft that could be higher. So investigate and understand it. Staffing cuts and changes. Yeah, I don't like discussing this one either, but the only thing worse is to not discuss it and ignore the problem. And ignoring that elephant in the room when you're at work, not that many of us are now, but when you're talking to the staff, they're all worrying about their jobs. So bring them in on the inside, let them know what's going on, and make sure that they see that you've got a plan. If possible, get them to take some vacations. Now, let me just say a few things. I was talking to one of my clients the other day about this. One of the things that I've done, I think, in every business I've been in, is to change the vacation period so that we don't have a single annual holiday basis. So, a lot of companies, like this client of mine I was mentioning, they have all the holidays, so it goes in a season from just January to December. So the consequence of that is you get a lot of people all scrabbling to use up the last of their holiday in December. Now, that can be bad in normal circumstances, but right now, if people are going to be off for weeks or even months at the moment, they're not going to be taking vacation days, not by choice. So that vacation's building up at probably 2.5 days per month. So by Christmas, there could be quite a lot of holiday they want to take. So my suggestion to this client and to you as well is consider, is it worth extending that vacation period? Not for everyone, stagger it. So maybe for some people you say, good news, we're extending your holiday period from whenever it was to now the end of March next year. That gives you an extra 6, 7, 8 days of holiday in the current vacation period. Would you like to take a couple of days off to help us all out now? extend others to June, extend others to September. It's not giving them more holiday, it's merely extending the period in which they can choose to use these days. And it really doesn't have any adverse effects, but it can alleviate the potential problem looming for businesses where a lot of people want to take all their vacation at the same time after this is all over. So, you know, think about whether you're going to replace staff if you're losing them through natural attrition. They may be leaving, going to another employer. Do you replace them? Do you delay that replacement? Think about that. And sometimes you do just have to lay people off, but there may be alternatives to that. So it may be that temporary pay cuts are an option. It may be that a reduction in hours is an option. If you think there might be cuts on the cards, think about very carefully how to have a conversation with the team. Use an external HR consultant to advise you on this, but think early and inform early so that people can plan. So if, for example, you're thinking you might need to cut staff's hours by maybe just an hour or two per week or per month, will help. It will help your cash flow, and it won't be as bad on them as if some of them get laid off. You're in a situation where you got 10 staff and you think you're going to have to lay 2 of them off. Consider instead, would all of the team pull together and agree to work 4-day weeks instead of 5 days? I've had a situation like that once years ago, and everyone absolutely wanted to do that instead. No one wanted to see the others go. Let's hope it's not a popularity contest for this. It's got to be the team really pulling together. And now plan to work from home. I think by this point, a lot of you will already be having staff working at home. You need different technology. You need to make sure that you can handle your meeting and reporting. You need to make sure customers can still get hold of everyone and that you can work as you need to with the customers. Sort out so that your banking and mail can be done. Just a word of caution on this. A lot of people are seeing they can't even get their hands on enough laptops to have people work from home. So they're inviting people to work from home on their home computers. The thing is, they may not be secure. You haven't necessarily put on their virus protection. You don't even know if their home computer is already infected with the virus. So if you're suddenly asking people to deal with your business banking on their home computer, make sure you get your IT expert to advise on how to do that safely. There are ways that they can actually remotely log into their desktop computer at work, and that can be a hell of a lot simpler and cheaper and a lot safer. So make sure you're talking to your IT experts about that, and also talking to your HR experts about people working from home as well. It all works. And when people are working from home, even more important to focus on that communication, how it's going to be done, and work it out now, because this may go on for a long time. Consider about online deliveries if it's appropriate for your business. Now that might be online deliveries or online order taking and remote deliveries of either physical products or maybe services. What we're doing now is I'm delivering my service to you remotely, electronically. It's not going to come in a parcel, but physical goods are. But you need to look at what your delivery options are and put them in place, and handle things on the phone or online as appropriate. If your website isn't handling online ordering and deliveries, then speak to someone so you can get it doing that. There's a lot of options out there. If you need to move staff from one position to another, then you need to do that. And if you're a retail store and people can't come to you, look very hard at how you can go to them, and that may be part of the staff changes. If you've got staff who are maybe working on a reception desk that just doesn't need to be manned right now because there aren't any people coming in, maybe they could have a job. If it's okay with them, then they might like to get out and deliver things to customers, or even be delivering to your home workers. Whatever it is, think about how you can all pull together and get everyone working. Think about, how you're handling your packaging, how you're handling your accounts, how you're handling your communication with customers. It's all important. Step 10, market and sell. So we touched on this earlier, and I said it's the most important thing, and it is. So, we covered it then. Keep on marketing. Don't decrease your marketing. Increase it, if anything. At the very minimum, keep it going. Negotiate the rates. There's a lot of business marketing will be cancelled right now, and a lot of marketing will be started new right now. So negotiate as always, create new offers, create new rates for doing business. Make sure you're measuring your 5 ways. If you don't know what I mean by that, speak to an action coach or look on our Action Coach website. Be measuring how many leads you're generating versus how many you need to. What's your conversion rate? What's your average value sale? How many times are people buying from you? And what's your margin? Know all of these numbers and see all the ways that you can to get cash up front. So focus on all of these things. So step 11, it's about repeat business. Existing customers are your best customers. You've already got them, look after them. Create deals that are exclusively for your loyal customers. Don't do the opposite like some companies have done in the past. It just really annoys customers. Treat your existing customers the most important, even while you're attracting new customers. Create bulk buys, offer deals for cash up front, keep your existing customers whatever it takes, whatever it costs. Keep your existing customers and keep communicating with them more regularly than ever before and in meaningful ways. Think of the 80-20 rule. 20% of your customers account for 80% of your business. 20% of your products and services will account for 80% of the income. Focus on these things and understand them. That's our 11 steps. But of course, we like to exceed expectations. You even get an extra minute of the webinar. Use your common sense and have some compassion. Over-deliver on customer service. Give your 11 out of 10 or your 12 out of 11 to your customers. Stay clean, don't touch, provide sanitizer, and put people first, because right now you need to. You know what? Be nice, take a chill pill, look after yourself, look after others, plan your business, and watch our website, reading.actioncoach.co.uk. In the event section, you'll see more of these webinars coming up. I'm Rob Pickering from Action Coach Reading. We're here helping local businesses to plan, and not just to survive through this, but to thrive through it. Thank you for listening.